Hello everyone and welcome to another English analysis video. My name is Mr. Point and today we will be exploring the theme of Mordor in Charles Dickens's novel, A Christmas Carol. Throughout the book, Dickens masterfully weaves in subtle references to the evil of Sauron and Mordor, which helps to add a new, extra, insightful facet to this magnificent gem of a book. To make the most of this lesson, make sure that you have a pen, a piece of paper, that you're in a quiet space with no distractions, and that your mobile phone is turned off. Let's start with some context about Mordor. Mordor is a place in Middle-earth where the evil Dark Lord Sauron resides. To get in, you have to get past the Black Gate, a heavily fortified entrance. In Mordor, there is Mount Doom, a mountain where the ruling ring of power was destroyed. There is the Tower of Barad-dûr, which is Sindarin for Dark Tower. It is the fortress which Sauron built and it is strengthened by the ring. Most importantly, on the top there is an eye, which is large and orange, and it is quasi-omniscient, meaning it was almost capable of knowing everything. Sauron used this eye to track Frodo Baggins' journey across Middle-earth. Here are some of the parts where Dickens refers to Mordor. I recommend you watch my first one, then you do them as I go so that you can see how your analysis of the quote compares to mine. I'll show my analysis of it as well so that you can compare yours to mine. Firstly, a quote from Stave 1. And this quote is particularly juicy since it could link to the theme of Mordor in multiple ways, all rather subtle and interesting. So here is the quote, "No eye is better than an evil eye, Dark Master." In this quote, the noun, eye, is mentioned twice. This is significant. Then what I think is the uses and connotations of the noun, eye. But as well as that, there is the phrase, evil eye, and, Dark Master. I then think of the uses and connotations of the phrases or words I have chosen. Here, eyes are used to watch and observe things. Evil eye means a bad look, an eye that an evil character uses to observe victims. I associate an evil eye with the devil, demons and supernatural forces. Now I look at Dark Master. A master is someone who commands, and dark is associated with evil, brooding storms, panic and fear. Now I link this into a theme or idea prevalent throughout A Christmas Carol. Here, this quote links to the motif of Sauron, because it mentions an evil eye, which is direct reference to the eye on the Tower of Barad-dûr. Dark Master here could refer directly to Sauron, since he is the Dark Lord, the definition of evil. Since Christianity was the predominant religion in England at the time, this could make a reader dislike Scrooge as he is being presented as like the devil. Now we're going to look at this quote. There was eager, greedy, restless motion in the eye. This is a quote from Stave 2. When the first ghost visits to show Scrooge his past. It is describing his face in his early days, and how Scrooge is starting to succumb to the temptation of avarice and profit. Here, Scrooge's eye is being described as eager, greedy and restless. Eager means that you really want to do something, greedy means you want more and are not content with what you have, and restless means that you are unable to relax or rest. Therefore, this means that Scrooge wants more and more, and is not content with what he has. Here, Scrooge wants more and more, and will strive to get what he wants. This ties into the Sauron motif because Sauron, the Dark Lord, is ambitious and greedy. In Lord of the Rings, Sauron was an ambitious character who wanted to be worshipped by all as a god-king and wanted to rule over Middle-earth. Moreover, Sauron controlled this eye that sat at the Tower of Barad-dûr, and he used his powers to watch, observe, and spy upon others, in order to achieve his quasi-omniscience. This is reflected, since Scrooge keeps his door open in Stave 1 to keep his eye upon his clerk. This represents Scrooge's controlling and demanding attitude to others, and Dickens cleverly parallels this to Sauron. Now, for the next section of the same quote, where the shadow of the growing tree will fall. This quote talks about a growing tree casting a shadow. Shadows are associated with darkness, a growing evil, something bigger that is looming over. It could refer to Scrooge's ambition for money starting to take over him. However, it also refer to the White Tree of Numenor. This was a gift from the elves of Tol Eressëa to the king of Numenor. However, it was burned by Sauron when he returned to Middle-earth. Originally it was a symbol of friendship and allegiance between the Eldar and the people of Numenor. Trees also represent life, peace, strength and stability. However, in the Victorian era, the lives of poor people are short. Diseases such as cholera and typhus spread rapidly through the poorer areas of Victorian London. In addition, the rich disliked the poor, saying that they were idle, undeserving. In essence, Dickens suggests that people like Scrooge are to blame for cutting and destroying the tree that represents strength and stability, sending the poor people in England into a state of turmoil and suffering, just like how Sauron destroyed Eregion, sending it into a state of disarray. This is additionally evidenced in the same quote, because it talks about how the shadow will fall. It could mean the shadow falling, as in it is being casted by the tree, but it could also refer to how Sauron felled the tree, burning it. Fall, also is the present form of fell, and fell can mean both to fall down, or of great evil. Both of these meanings could link to Sauron, because he was once this powerful Dark Lord, but he fell in power when the ring was destroyed. However, he was also an awful character, who enjoys destruction, torture and murder. Here, Dickens wants to foreshadow the fact that if Scrooge doesn't change, he will fall, as shown when the ghost of Christmas yet to come shows him his future, and how a lot of people are neutral or glad that he died. However, it could also be a direct attack on the Dickens' predominantly wealthy readers. He wants to imply that they are fell. Due to the fact they aren't helping the situation of the less fortunate, they are as vile as Sauron. The rich are inadvertently causing people to die and suffer in dreadful conditions. Dickens makes the reader feel sorry, guilty even, to prompt them into giving to charity. Now here's an example of an essay-style question that could be set around this theme. How does Dickens use ideas about Sauron to present Scrooge as a dislikable character? So here is my example response. Dickens presents the character of Scrooge in A Christmas Carol as a watchful, deceitful boss, and as a person who is spiteful and disagreeable. In Stave 1, Scrooge is presented as a somewhat authoritarian employer, as a character who has committed so many sins that even God has given up on him. This is evidenced in the quote, "No eye is better than the evil eye, dark master." The adjective, dark, is associated with things such as the presence of evil, storms, chaos, fear. Scrooge is therefore described associated with ideas such as evil, brooding storms, shadows. Dark is also the absence of light, and this could mean that Scrooge cannot see his own future, and that he doesn't think of the consequences of his actions because he cannot see them due to the darkness. It could be symbolic of the fact that God has given up trying to redeem him, to bring him back to the symbolic light of reality. However, Dark Master could also refer to Sauron, the sole commander of the ruling ring of power. Sauron uses the ring to corrupt and control others, such as the Nine Nazgul. Sauron uses force and fear to effectively rule, and he is often described as a shadow across Middle-earth. This is a symbol for how Scrooge is a shadow across Bob Cratchit's life, that he is controlling his actions, constantly watching him, as shown in Stave 1 when Dickens writes that Scrooge might keep his eye upon his clerk. This is the start of the motif of the evil of Mordor which is present throughout the book. Scrooge has shunned truth, kindness and light, in order for him to continue his own ways. He has rejected the warmth of human contact, so that he can have absolute control over what he owns and controls, his wealth and his employee, like how Sauron wants absolute control over Middle-earth. Thus, Dickens presents the character of Scrooge at the start of A Christmas Carol as a man who is despicable, somewhat villainous and controlling, so that the reader is excited to see a change in his hard and sharp exterior. Okay, so now that we've read my example paragraph, let's take it apart so that you can write a paragraph like this. So first, I make my point that answers the question I have been given, and I don't just say one word, I say multiple points about Scrooge. Then, I choose a quote from A Christmas Carol that backs my point up. Then I analyze my quote, in this case, Dark Master. Then I zoom into a word and here I'll choose dark, because I can think of more things associated with this than master. Then I briefly define dark, then I list the associations and connotations of the adjective dark. Then I give some possible interpretations of the quote, such as God giving up on him due to the darkness he is in. Then after I analyze it I give some of the ideas that surround A Christmas Carol, like the theme of Sauron. I explain the idea of Sauron briefly and then I say how Sauron relates to Scrooge. Notice that I link it to other moments in A Christmas Carol. Finally, I end my paragraph off by saying what Dickens really wants to say, his true intention. And that brings us to the end of this English analysis video. I hope you've learned something. I hope to see you in the next video, and for now have a good day.